uh, they're a
Little something.
little yeah, more
Yeah.
cat-like, I guess. More of what people think cats are.
Yeah, male cats tend to be a bit more like dogs, in my opinion.
Yeah, more chill.
But I hit that button, so we are live.
I wasn't ready yet.
It's
Jeez.
too late, Dean. We always fucking wait for you, man.
We didn't have a funny
Always.
lead-in. 20 seconds in. Oh, jeez. Talking about dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats living together. Hey, Spirit Scar, how are you tonight? Yeah, so I am here with my ever faithful co-host DA Talks.
I was actually just cheating on you with other streams.
I know, you always are.
Yeah, that story I told about falling asleep in the car right after work, that was a lie. I was with other people streaming.
And Matt Crotts of Kyrie, right? Isn't that how you say it? Or you say it somewhat weird, right? It's not just Kyrie.
I kind of dig. I mean, it's kind of becoming a Berenstein Bears situation, because I say Kyrie, but
I can say Kyrie.
I mean, two syllables is easier, right? And so long as everyone knows how to spell it, it's fine by me. I can find it on Indiegogo.
Chat, chat. I want you to purposely misspell it. Just god awful.
No.
So how is everyone?
Doing all right.
It was a long day, and it feels like it's gonna. Hopefully, this doesn't feel like it's gonna drag.
Yeah.
Why would you even say that? Why would you put that?
I'm trying to keep you on your fucking toes.
I was on my toes.
You were late.
No, I showed up like right at 7:30. Okay. We just needed to talk about Jim Carrey movies for like 5 fucking minutes.
It was a good warm up.
It was. So you are on your third Indiegogo campaign for this series, yes?
Yeah, a third in about a year, I think it's been. And yeah, quite a ride. I did so for those of you guys who don't know, you may have seen these books around the place. That's what I was fulfilling in 2020. This is the book one, and that's book two. 280 pages, and I wrote them and I drew them all. It's a just solo project, start to finish. And then 2021, I guess like some people, it's funny how like after you get a couple under your belt and you figure out how to fulfill, and you get people who are interested in your stories, like kind of what you want to do with that particular focus that people are putting on you. And I kind of want to collaborate more. That's kind of how I'm doing it. So these are sort of like my calling card, I suppose, that gets me in the door. And then people, they check them out and they say, hey, that's pretty good. I like your colors. So let's see you, coloring other people's inks, or I like your writing. So, can you write a script for me and I'll get someone else to draw it, that sort of thing. So I'm doing more of that, which is fun. And I also kind of wanted to do it myself. So the profits from Kyrie books 1 and 2 so far, kind of taken the Tim and Mark approach, has paid already for all the artists that are involved in Wild Tales here.
So they actually don't pay their artist, just so you know.
Yeah, they don't pay.
Yeah. Just in photo reference of TNA, I guess. Yeah, thanks, Matt Fowler. Yeah,
so, I totally agree.
People like my colors. They think my drawing's weird, which is 100% understandable. I think my drawing they're weird. So I just thought I'd color everyone else's inks. I just hire people that you guys have seen out in the ecosystem to draw me some cool short stories that I've written or co-written, because people like the way I'm writing too so far. So I write them and then I color them, and other people ink them or draw them, So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the pages for this new book are beautiful.
So it's a lot of fun. Are there any challenges though that like come with that? Like when you're deciding, that you're gonna color it, but somebody else is gonna draw. Are there I mean, I know that's like kind of like a generic question, but I am curious.
Yeah, you know what the hardest part is
Mm.
not falling on uh, your standby color schemes.
Mm-hmm.
So I live in Florida, and everything, like, I'm just even looking around my room, and everything is this colors. Like, everything is pink and green here.
Uh-huh.
It's
It is.
Miami, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in Miami, but everything in Florida is Miami. So, like, I just want to do everything pink and green. And so I give myself permission to do like one of the stories that way. I'm doing Fresher Luke's stories in pink and green, but then I have to give myself rules to not do it any other way. I mean, and other than that, like, I kind of tested things out with book 2, and I found people uh, for kind of like stretch goal type goodie bag type things to draw like short, just like
Mhm.
single illustration things. And if I saw that they could turn things around quickly, then I offered them, like, here's a 14-page story. Can you draw this for me?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that's not hard. I think, especially like if you find people who have like a track history of already completing projects, you can probably hire them.
Oh
Um,
yeah. So like um what's his name? Uh Fuck. Never mind.
uh,
Joke's ruined. It was that fat fuck Nasser's
oh
Ri-
yeah,
yeah.
uh,
What's his damn it. The joke's ruined. Damn
the
it.
king,
Fuck
the
this shit.
Yeah.
It's
guy.
over. It's dead. We're
Yeah, never mind. I like Fresher Luke's art. I
Yeah, right.
backed his Forsaken Gods.
Yeah,
I'm
so
waiting
did
for
I.
that. Yeah, that was a really cool. We had him on, actually. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a couple when his campaign was still live. But yeah. So he did us one of the stories in this.
Yeah, I knew he's good with action scenes. Like, that's kind of one of the things I was doing too. Is these books are a bit of a slower pace. It's kind of like a Romance of the Sands epic, so I can kind of Lawrence of Arabia and slow things down for a lot of the scenes. But for Wild Tales, I wanted to just compress things and give people a lot of action. And I knew, a guy like Fresher Luke, who has a history in storyboarding, he can handle it. So, and everyone else, like Jose Garcia, like, clearly, action is his strong suit. Or Jesse White, who did he's doing the Ashcan for the Kandahar Crisis. So,
So you had the first book was let's see if I remember, The Curse of the Macedonian Scroll, right? It was
good
sort of
memory. Wow. I forget sometimes. A
that's when I
year
first
ago.
yeah, that's when I first noticed you, and it was your art actually that I first noticed. You call it weird, and I think it's different. It is a little funky, but I really like it. It has a cool aesthetic.
Thanks.
And I had seen that. I mean, aside from seeing you just kind of, and after that, I noticed you just sort of floating around. I know that sounded weird,
No, I
but
mean, that's kind of been, I guess that's been my style.
right.
I'm not really a YouTuber, like, I never really bought the idea that you kind of have, like, everyone has to build their own platforms.
yeah. Yeah,
Like,
you should
yeah,
just be able to, sell a good product. But like I guess it just depends, like it's a different route of
yeah, it
doing
works.
the
It's
same. Yeah,
valid.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini don't have a huge YouTube presence either.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a channel that I don't know, maybe something goes up there every couple of weeks,
Hmm.
maybe.
Yeah, it's just like there's different roads to the same like destination.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
buy the you have to grab an oar and have like, thousands of subs on a YouTube channel to have a successful campaign.
Oh,
Yeah,
but if
that
you do have
that ship
thousands of
sailed.
subs on a YouTube channel,
It still doesn't
that might help.
it
But
doesn't
also, like, is
guarantee
that what you want to do, or do you want to spend time, like, on the product more? And like, it really just depends, I guess, on.
Well, or you could just want to, you could be drawing this stuff, you could be coloring these pages and just want to troll in other people's chats
Oh
for a
yeah,
year,
that's
which is what I did.
yeah, I feel like that describes you pretty perfectly.
And that's a good way to establish trust, You can just say, yeah, it's a year of that guy. He's an idiot.
Yeah, that guy,
He-
he wouldn't stop trolling me. What a jerk. No.
yeah, he might deserve my money. I don't know.
He God damn it, I hate that guy, but I'm gonna fucking fund that book, motherfucker.
I think we should probably let people know what the books are about in general. Like the first one was that like North Africa? They all take place in what time period? Sort of like
Yeah, 250 AD in North
okay.
Africa. And there's a series of characters. The three that you see on the books. And the Wild Tales is my attempt. So I really got in, like I grew up, as Vicky knows, reading more like European comics. And then I fell out of them because I came back to the States and everyone was reading Spawn, which looked gorgeous, but I just had no, you anywhere outside of the US, you're going to find comics that you can enter into at any point as a beginning, middle, and end, and you can understand the story. It's easy, easy point of entry, I guess. And by the early to mid '90s, that that was kind of gone. So as amazing as the art, I was buying Ninja Turtles and Spawn toys, but I wasn't reading the comics because it was just impenetrable. So I kind of left them, and then I came back into comics in college when there was kind of like an anthology boom. I don't know. Some of you guys might have known about this. Critical Blast interviewed one of the guys that kind of broke it open, Kazu Kabuishi. It was like the early, it was in the 2000s, mid 2000s. And everyone was getting in on anthologies. It was like, it was at the same time that Kickstarter had just launched as a platform. And so people were figuring out, you can put together a pretty hefty book if you can just hire a bunch of people or get them to volunteer to draw just short stories. So it's not a huge, drain on their abilities. Like they can just put together 10 pages of something that they want to do. And then you get 15 people to do that and you've got a book. And I was just really impressed with, like, I didn't know comics could look like that, where you could just draw comics. Like comics can look like anything. It's hard. That's another, it's another problem, I guess, with, well, I don't know, I guess it's not the problem anymore, but in the US, at least, it was a little truncated, I guess, in terms of what styles were permissible and what weren't. And so I was inspired by that stuff. And I've always wanted to do an anthology. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Is I'm starting an anthology with this. The proceeds from this are going to pay for more short stories to get done. And then after we do 2 of these, I think I can collect them into something that's a little more Doug TenNapel-y in terms of product quality. But so they're all short stories, and they feature the female protagonist that you're seeing in the skirt, the lovely skirt there, drawn by Fresher Luke. And it's set a few years after the events of these books, and it doesn't spoil what happens because I still got to finish the series. But you're getting a good sense of the fallout, I guess you could say, like the consequences and the decisions and the mistakes that were made in the course of the story, and how particularly Myra, the female, but kind of the world that she lives in is dealing with the avalanched consequences of what the decisions she did have to make in the story. So you're kind of getting like foreshadowing of where the story's going, the one that I'm drawing, but later in life as a sequel. So I thought that'd be kind of cool, you know, where it's like it's a sequel prequel. And yeah. So
It's a prequel.
yeah.
Ah, classic.
Prequel.
The classic prequel.
Yeah, the art is just so freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a Ukrainian artist, Kaden Rauk. She's got a really nice touch, and we've got it's the war between Japan and Russia about 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, and some Leninist Russians are trying to steal the remains of a witch that unified Japan in the 3rd century, and she had a pet dragon. And there's kind of some exposition on the page. You guys can check it out if you want. But basically, they're trying to resurrect that dragon to help take over the world for Lenin. So that's fun. That's 17 pages, and that's a really fun. I'm coloring those pages now. Those are a lot of fun. So
Yo, I'm sorry, but I was wondering the same thing. Why is Jesse Pinkman on the stream?
yeah, I know. I get that. It's the forehead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you do look pretty similar.
I've only made a little bit of meth with my
Only
high school
only a little
chemistry
bit.
teacher. Yeah.
But I'm still but you're still cool with the guy, right?
Oh yeah. We're bros.
Yeah. You guys, you didn't end on bad terms.
Yeah.
He is his colorist, Spirit Scar. Just saying.
You know, well, it still works.
It still works.
Yeah,
it still works.
Oh, I'm trying to understand that. What is he getting at? Spirit Scar. He's so esoteric. I can't keep up. I'm too concrete. Yeah, so it's just like I just wanted to give people a variety of styles, a variety of stories. The more forward in time we go, the more realistic the artwork gets, which I think is kind of fun. So you go, closer to the events of my book, you get closer to my style.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like it just kind of worked out that way, and I think I'm going to keep it up. But
so what made you get into comics? When did you get into comics? Were you young? Were you
well, so it was really like Tintin and Asterix that I was
Mhm.
checking out as a kid. I lived overseas for a bit in New Zealand, and we went to Canada a lot, and that's what everyone was reading. They were even reading like Prince Valiant in collected volumes, like not just in the Sunday funnies. So comics to me it was principally adventure stories, but it was obvious from the start that they could be any genre you wanted, right? Like
Of course.
you don't pick up a novel and just say, this is a novel, so it's probably a mystery story. Like you just know, like it doesn't fucking matter what kind of
Yeah. Same with most consumable media.
Yeah, like TV shows or every genre. But with comics, and only in the US, not in Japan, not in Brazil, Canada, Europe, only in the US. And I guess it's the Comics Code Authority. I'm learning about this stuff too. I guess things got kind of what do you call it? Things got narrowed.
Yeah.
And expectations got narrowed. And we had a lot of success with a mono genre, and thankfully indie comics are breaking back out again. And I think it's interesting just to divert into CG for a bit. Like a lot of these people who grew up on CG, on exclusively superhero comics, or predominantly superhero comics at least, almost none of them are making superhero comics when they have a chance to make their own, which I think is really interesting because I think they naturally know that they can take the same principles as superhero comics. Superhero comics are great. Like I completely respect it, but they realize that you don't have to make just superhero comics, you know. So yeah. Yes. Thank you, Spirit Scar. I hope that you click the link later if we open up so you can educate me, because I know, like, if comics were just known as horror comics, like I would have been reading them my whole life in the US, you know. But that's how it goes.
Yeah. You can catch up and read Nasser's stuff.
Yeah. I liked what's the prostitute name one? Trixie Kane.
Trixie Kane. The
That was fun.
prostitute name. Nasser loses shit over that. Yeah, it does sound like a hookah. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun little book. So it had a few issues, I thought, with like the flashback stuff, but it was a fun book.
Yeah, it was really dense. He was trying to do a whole heck of a lot, I think, with one issue. But
it happens when you're not sure
ambitious.
if you're going to be doing a sequel.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I have a lot of pictures. You don't have to talk about them all as we go through. I mean, I literally just I took all the pictures off of the Indiegogo, so they're all in there. So you can just talk about anything. It's all cool.
Nice. Sorry. Yeah, I should have. I was trying to find the word stripper, but for some reason I said prostitute.
It's too many years living in Canada and being polite, I guess. Yeah. Actually, when you say Canada, you could totally tell that you used to live there. You have that little Canada thing happening there.
Oh, thanks.
I know.
I'm not sure it was a compliment.
I'm not sure it is either. I'm not sure it is either.
Canadians.
When did you start? When did you decide you wanted to make comics?
So I went to school and I was trying to get into film, and that failed. And then I tried to make illustrations for film, and that failed. And then I realized that storyboarding is basically just comics. And if I like telling stories and I like drawing art for stories, I can just do that myself and I can crowdfund it. So that's basically, you know, as soon as Kickstarter became a thing, I was watching it at very least. And I was trying to, you know, you collab, you know, you do what you try to do. You try to collab with people that you respect, and it always falls through. And then you just kind of realize that you have to do it yourself. So that's kind of what it was. It was really, it was movies that made me want to get into it.
What other sorry, I ask like very random questions, but like what other like nerd-ish type media do you like? Or like geek culture type media?
He doesn't look like geek culture, does he?
I'm just wondering, and maybe there's other like, well, I would consider comics a part of like geek culture.
I watch a lot of Let's Plays. How's
okay.
that?
Yeah, Let's Plays are fun.
You
I
know.
like watching like Pokemon Let's Plays.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
those
dig
are
it.
fun.
It's like you don't always have time to play these things, but you kind of want to see them.
Yeah,
you know,
especially if you like the person that's doing the Let's Play, because
yeah.
But yeah,
I dig that. Yeah.
So that means you play games, I'm assuming?
I used to, but I mean, once I started drawing, man, like,
why was
so
Halo
hard.
2 the best first-person shooter? Can you answer that?
It had the best story, I'll say that.
It had the best online, dude. Fucking modded
Yeah, it
as
did.
fuck.
Yeah, the best online. Didn't they, like, they fixed I feel like the pistols were too good, and they nerfed them in a good way, I guess. But
and the battle rifle was pretty.
That was pretty sick with the burst shot.
Yeah.
Damn it, I miss it.
Well, cool. Well, I feel like we got our answer. We now know why Halo 2 was the best first-person shooter.
That's probably my favorite. I was thinking about this today. I think that's my favorite superhero story of the last 10 years is the
Oh
Halo
yeah, it
series.
is. It is a good one for sure.
Yeah, wouldn't mind too.
Yes.
That
Master
was a
Chief is just a fucking beast, dude.
Yeah.
Master Chief versus Captain America. Who wins?
2021 Captain America.
Either one. You know what? Let's go with give me an answer for
I mean, Halo.
Master Chief. It's Master Chief.
Master
Dude. He
Chief is
fucking
gonna.
he fucking wrecked him.
he's gonna walk a nuke like
Oh
like
yeah.
from orbit. Like,
Yeah, dude, he's
down
just
into
gonna
Earth.
ride the fucking nuke all the way down, dude.
Yeah. So that's how it's
all
gonna go.
Slim Pickens and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a Doctor Strangelove reference for anybody who's not old enough to remember.
Is that
Dean
a
did-
David Lynch film? Are we going David Lynch already?
No, it's not a David Lynch film. Sorry.
Cronenberg? No.
No, not yet.
The other one.
We're saving that for later. Yeah. Dean didn't know it though.
Yeah,
It's not the
yeah.
pedo one, right? It's not the guy with the hot tub.
No,
No.
Doctor Strangelove.
Okay.
It's the one. It's the world's about to be destroyed.
Spirit Scar.
Nuclear war.
You got her back. Stanley Kubrick. Sorry
Stanley
about that.
Kubrick. Yeah. It's one of, actually the only one of his movies that I really like.
I think I'll really like it. I like the black and white thing. I like it's actually from the 60s, right? So it's got a better vibe, maybe.
I think it was a little later than that. I think it was purposely shot in black and white, even though it didn't need to be.
Oh.
It was just an aesthetic choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little retro.
And this is Fresher Luke too, isn't it?
That's still Jose.
Is that still Jose? It's beautiful. I like the movement is great.
I like the close up of the face.
Yeah, he's incredible. Can you believe it? This is 14 pages he got me, and it was I asked him when he could start on it, and he was like, "Yeah, buddy, I got like 3 weeks of a gap in my freelance, so I can get you all 14 pages in 3 weeks." And I was like, we'll see. Can I get you a contract on that? But we'll see what's going to happen. And he got me all 14 pages in 3 weeks.
Dang.
He's as good as he is. He's super fast. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to his Ethan Ashcan thing. I'm glad he's been. I mean, he was drawing so many people's. He was drawing Tim and Lim art. He was drawing everyone's art. Just reckless abandon. Just whose art, whose characters do I got to do fan art of? And
Yeah, that's
And
like
which-
that show. Whose art is it, anyways?
And
Yeah.
which story is this one from? Because there's 3 stories in this, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
Wild Chair.
3, and then there's an Ashcan 4th, and this is an Indian assassin story. So I'm a big fan of Indian martial arts.
Me too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're jiving with. This whole thing is it's set in Southwest India, in Kerala, where they do all the crazy jumping, like acrobatics martial arts stuff. I wouldn't be able to pronounce it, but so all those assassins know all those martial arts, and Myra has to survive each of them. So
No, I did not see it in the cinema, Spirit Scar. It was before I was on the planet. God, I don't even think my parents had met yet. Thanks.
40K always wins.
So, where was I? I was going to ask you a question, and now I don't remember what it was. So it's Dean's turn.
No, well, I think Tatsunami brings up a good question. How
Never
old
asked.
is Vicky?
You never ask. You're not supposed to ask those kind of questions.
This is what the chat wants, Vicky. You got to give the chat what they want, Vicky.
I'm 51.
No, I was just joking. I didn't.
I know. I'm ancient. I'm way older than everybody around, so it doesn't, It's all cool. It does not
I don't
bother me.
honestly. I just don't know how you put up with us. That's the only question I'm wondering.
I know,
I
but I
mean,
still put up with Dean. You
Yeah.
know, it's been a
you.
year, and look, I'm still putting up with Dean.
Um,
I guess it's the pro wrestling uh, interests that make this whole thing tolerable. Because without that, I mean, this would have to be absolute hell.
uh, you're right. It is.
Dean, Dean, Dean doesn't watch wrestling, which is sort of disappointing. I made him watch wrestling, actually.
Oh yeah, is that
Yeah.
some WrestleMania?
I don't think it was it I don't think it was. It was a pay-per-view. I don't remember which one. But I started him off with an Indy match. It was an intergender match between the
Wow.
world's cutest tag team and the Young Bucks at PWG in Reseda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And he seemed to enjoy it. He said he did, but I haven't been able to get him to watch any since.
I'm sorry, I
Oh,
zoned out. I was reading the
I
chat.
know, because it was
Uh,
wrestling. He doesn't give a shit about it. We have very little in common, but we still managed, which is probably how we managed to do this every week.
I don't know. I just don't like what's the like, oh, it's a bunch of men just pretending to uh be mad at each other. Well, they pretend but sort of actually hurt each other, but it's also still pretend. It just seems, you know. Oh, and they're like, just a like they're just like a bunch of half naked fucking dudes just manhandling each other. Like, yeah, that's cool. Why don't you just watch gay porn?
Except for
It
the
is also choreographed, so
That's true.
except for the half naked part, it sounds a lot like Comicsgate. Um,
Well, but this is like the great thing about Comicsgate is you get to see one of those pro wrestler fighters pretending to fight, and then you get to see the other one think it's real. He actually thinks pro wrestling's real. He's in that ring, and he thinks he's fighting for his life, and the other guy is pretending to beat him up the whole time. And I mean, if this goes on for 10 years, it won't be long enough. It's so fascinating to see
it
people
is
take
very
things seriously on the internet.
It is very weird. But then
Yeah.
again, you have people that almost force you to take certain things seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just like be, oh, you called me a pedo for nothing, no reason, and just let it slide. So you're kind of, screwed one
Yeah.
way or another. When the accusations get leveled and they're pretty nasty, then what are you supposed to do about that? You know,
Yeah,
that's
you got to get in the ring and maybe throw a few right hooks. Yeah, for real. Yeah.
yeah.
And you guys do a good job. I guess that's the thing. It's like everyone's kind of feigning in and out of the kayfabe, and you got to tune in every day to find out whether or not it's kayfabe or if it's you know,
I
then
don't think
tomorrow it
many
could be
things are like
real.
kayfabe though. Like it's the internet. Like I think a
Yep.
lot of it is just butthurt like losers.
Yeah.
Like
That's yeah,
That's
that's fun
that's
too.
some too. I mean, there is a bit of that.
yeah, like don't get me wrong. Yes, some of it's kayfabe, but it's only a matter of time before like the kayfabe just becomes reality. Like fake it till you make it isn't because you're trying to make it. It's just when you fake something long enough, it will just become the reality. Like
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
were actually before you joined us, Dean, we were talking about I, I use the word ecosystem to describe this space that we're in, and Matt was said he'd been using the same word, and it really is. It's so many different little populations just sort of orbiting each other and merging in and out and doing all
Competing
sorts
for
of
resources and
yeah, exactly.
evolving, dying out, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
crossbreeding.
A lot of dying out. I actually think this year is gonna see quite a bit of dying out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of campaigns in Comicsgate, and they're not making a whole lot of money. lots of really, really little campaigns. I mean, they're
Yeah.
large enough that you can get out your book. Um, and I get that, that it's really about, for a lot of people, actually having that book printed and sending it out and having people read it and enjoy it and be excited about it.
Hmm.
But it'd still be nice to, be able to pocket a little cash at the end of that.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard when your campaign's not even breaking 10K,
Oh, I mean, yeah, breaking 10K is very hard to do. I did it
It
with book
is.
2, and I don't know if I'll break it with Wild Tales. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, okay, here's my take. Okay, so coming at this not from like a disaffected, mainstream comic book reader. I never walked into a local comic shop and saw a lot of stuff that I wanted to read, except maybe some Dark Horse alien stories or something. But I could get those with the toys. They had little mini comics with the toys in the 90s. So, like, to me, like, okay, this is my dumbass metaphor, and please stop me if this gets annoying. But I see CG as like it's like an exodus of uh, economic migrants and refugees getting kicked out of their homeland, and they're immigrating to this new land, right? It's a very different land with a different language and a different set of rules. It's the crowdfunding. It's not even indie the way people mean indie in comics. It's self-published comics, with crowdfunding and YouTube. And these guys have had to figure out how to learn the language the hard way, and they've had to learn how to like develop new skill sets, and they've also had to like they're slowly every year, I think, blending more and more into, like, they're integrating into the culture of this new world they've kind of found themselves in, and they're no longer just like migrants. Now they're just kind of becoming citizens of crowdfunding comics. And comics has always been, like, as far as crowdfunding goes, it's always been like a 3 to 5K game for
Mhm.
9 out of 10 people. If you
Yeah.
break 10, that's a big deal. And, you know, it's amazing what happened in 2018, where everyone did the equivalent of Image Comics and they were all buying jet skis and stuff and not finishing their campaigns. But that, like, just like Image Comics, that's the exception that proves the rule, right? So I think there's slowly there's 1,000 campaigns on 1,000 hills. None of them are going to break 6K, except for 5% of them, and that's going to look like failure for people who started this watching, 5 campaigns in a whole year, and all of them broke 100K within 2 weeks. But it's not failure in this new world that they're integrating into, I guess, where everything's like micro campaigns, and you're probably going to have to draw it yourself and color it yourself, because
Mhm.
these dumbass, like, you don't work at Marvel, you can't have a bullpen of 8 people working on your project. You can't afford them unless you're gonna, not pay them. So it's like the ideal indie comic in this sphere in crowdfunding is a solo campaign, and maybe a couple other people if you can afford it. If you're really confident you can pull in the extra cash, or if they're donating their time.
Yeah.
But that's going to be normal. That was the normal before CG. It's returning to that normal now. So it looks like failure relative to what was pulled off a couple of years ago, but I think it's settling, it's equalizing. The immigrants are now fully integrated into society, and they're getting used to 3K. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Well, it's the Pareto principle in action, I mean,
Hmm.
you can't avoid it. You always have that, the top percent that brings in 80% of the cash, and then
Yeah.
the big percent of people bring in, far, far less. And the only difference is when Comicsgate first started, there was so much I guess I want to say excitement in the movement, and
Yeah, enthusiasm.
everybody literally backed. I mean, people were backing everybody's books, so even the smaller campaigns were doing okay as long as they were calling themselves CG, because you had people like Tinfoil Hat Nick, who literally, if it was a CG campaign, he was retweeting it 3-4 times a day. I mean, that was his entire Twitter feed, was just tweeting out campaigns, even though it was a war campaign. But everybody,
Hmm.
it didn't matter what the book was, it didn't matter how the book looked, it was just, everybody was backing everybody. And
Yeah.
that's what has settled out, is
Hmm.
you have those big campaigns that, were late, the campaigns that still haven't fulfilled, and it's been 2 years. I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for my Monster MD. Those, that kind of thing really made people stop and take stock of what they were giving their money to. Plus, everything
Hmm.
else, the economic downturn this year has made a big difference as well, I think.
Yeah.
So, it becomes what actually interests you between the pages now. I mean, a little bit of like, I like so and so, I'll back his book,
Hmm.
but I think that it's starting to take a little bit more than just, I like so, and I like that creator, and so I'll give him money. That's my view of it. I've always
It's
been that
more
way.
than that. Yeah. Hmm.
You know, it takes a lot more than just having a crowd fund now. And for a little while, that's all you
Hmm.
needed, you know?
I don't know
Hmm.
that I backed I backed a book just because it was a crowdfund. So
I told Vicky I'd draw you into this comic because that's the only way I can get you to
Oh yeah,
to
you
to
do
read it.
that, dude, and I will shill the living shit out of that book.
Yeah, put him in your next one, and he will, like, be all over that shit. This is the only way to
And
get
then
him.
if it's good, I will also tell people it's good. So, you know, you just
Thanks,
got to put
DA.
me in there for me to read it to figure
Yeah.
out.
If I put your name
Or
right
link
next to a cherry, does that? I heard that is the way to go. I don't know if
uh,
that's still kosher. Oh,
maybe
sorry. No.
a different fruit would be better this time
Cool.
around, but
Yeah.
cherries are a little spurgy and a-loggy and just never
Yeah.
shut up about the same shit. They're weird. They're very weird.
Yeah.
What
Overrated.
what?
Cherry's overrated.
It'll work, Matt. It's the only
I will
way. It's the
shill the
only way.
hell. I love rock and roll and ninjas.
Yeah. Matt Bear's art is significant. Like
It is.
it's
It is
really
really good.
like
It
he's
is.
got like jazz on every page, and I'm really excited about
Yeah. I've been watching his drawing streams.
that.
Um, there are there's only, like, there's very few people there. So go
Oh
yeah, go subscribe to Matt Six Bar, and his drawing streams are just really great to watch. It's fun. I like watching people, I know. I create, and
yeah. Mm.
I know a lot of people are bored by drawing streams, but I think they're just fabulous. Um, I even liked watching Ethan. That's when I first started watching Ethan, was when he
Mm.
was drawing. He did these portfolio reviews that were pretty cool too. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, so if anybody's drawing, I'm usually there. I like watching Fresher Luke. I like watching his drawing streams.
Yeah.
Um,
Those are great, aren't they?
yeah, Jason Robinson.
Mm.
The only thing Matt needs to learn is to talk a little bit more when he's drawing on stream. But yeah, the chats, I have fun in the chat. So, but yeah, his art is great. That picture he did of Shotgun Samurai, was really
Yeah,
hot.
that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But your colors are just popping in this book. Just totally popping.
Thanks. Yeah, that's my Florida color scheme there. And it's just neat because like every campaign is a and this is something that like Ethan understands very well. There's so many things that Ethan says that I agree with, and almost none of CG agrees with. Have you noticed like he'll pull out things about like what he thinks CG is or what he thinks a campaign is and what it's supposed to be and what it isn't, and most of his fans don't agree, which I think is really interesting. But like he really gets this idea that it's kind of like this meta. I mean, a lot of people do. Like Tim and Lim understand this very well. It's more than the book. It's much more than the book. It's more than even the campaign page, though that's a significant part. Like you're trying to tell a story where everyone gets to be involved and invested up front in that story, you know?
Mhm.
And I don't know why I said that, but I guess like with this campaign with Wild Tales, like I'm trying to add a lot of value that goes above and beyond uh, the book, which I've tried to make it as high as quality as I can. But I'm also bringing in people that you already know and enjoy and trust and think are funny on the internet and stuff like that. You know, for the most part, these are people that you already know. So there's a lot of like trust, I guess, built up there. You know,
Mhm.
and uh, the
And those
campaign.
really cool koozies. You should have
Yeah.
had more of those.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I jumped into koozies. Yeah, I feel like this is already a stale meme. By the time I got them, you know how these campaigns like they take at least 6 months, and by the time I got them and got this thing launched, it was a yeah yeah. Cider understands. Him and I talk about this. It's that's really the currency, isn't it? It's trust, and there's only you can get on streams and you can BS your way into some degree of trust if you're really charismatic, but long term, you know, there's only one way to build that trust.
By
So,
putting out a great product and giving it to people when they want it and
yeah.
expect it. I think I
Hmm.
think I think being on time or early is highly underrated. It's in this space. Um
Hmm.
you know, I'm a believer if your book is supposed to be fulfilled in June, you should be done with it 2 months early. Like, you
Mm.
know, it should be completed in time for it to get to the printer and actually send it to people so they get it in June. Like, I don't wanna know, y I I understand that shit happens, and sometimes with first campaigns, it's a little difficult if it's, like, the first book that you're doing to
Mhm.
judge how long it's gonna take you and things like that and everything else, but, you know, you should try to hit that goal as close as possible. And just the practicality of it builds a lot of trust, not just being out there and people seeing you. That's me.
Can I? All right. Can I push back a little bit?
Mhm.
See what you think about
No,
this.
not allowed. Uh, no,
I'm
sorry, go
pushing
on.
back. I'm pushing back. Okay, so I was 1 month late on book one. I was on time with book two. This one I'm going to be on time with, and that's this summer, late this summer. All the inks are pretty much already done, and just have to color them all. But I can see like I don't think I'll ever put myself. I wouldn't have the I wouldn't have the huevos to give you guys a campaign to check out and then have like a 1 year plus expectation time of when that's going to be fulfilled. But I can see I can tell that if I'm a big YouTube streamer, for instance, and I've got a lot of trust built up with people, like I think they kind of want chat, please troll me if I'm wrong, but I think they enjoy watching you slowly put that together 12 plus months, and they want to see, you know, every little perk come in, maybe one a month. They want to see every little like jot and tittle kind of slowly come together, and that kind of enthusiasm builds up,
But
and
we don't
people really enjoy that.
But you
So
don't really see that with those, especially with the bigger YouTubers. You see it with like the smaller guys. You
yeah.
know, like, and I had Kevin Strange on, right? And
Oh, he was great.
his streams, you know, he's been showing um all of the perks from his campaign for the last few weeks.
Hmm.
And even before that, because he's everything ready to go as soon as the campaign closes to send him out, right? So he's already got, except for one ash can, I think, which was a stretch goal. But he's already
Hmm.
got his books printed, he's got his
Nice.
posters done, you know, the stickers and everything else that's going along with it. But you don't really see that. It seems you know, a lot of the bigger YouTubers, their books are late, and I think they try to hide where they are in their progress of the book because, like, Ethan, no offense, Ethan, but I think he drew like 23 pages last year, right? And that's,
Yeah.
you know, and when you when your book's scheduled to come out, you know, 400 and something days after you open the campaign, 23 pages in a year is pretty bad. And who wants to advertise that that's all you've done? Do you know
But
what I
don't
mean?
you think, does that make it feel like, okay, here's the perception though. Uh, um, what's his name? The Catholic guy, the OGCG dude who has the
Doug Ernst, the
Doug.
Soul
Thank you.
Finder. Hmm.
Yeah, he drops that and it's ready to go, and you're gonna get it like a week after you order it. Uh, as smart, as an incredible achievement that is to pull that off, and to basically almost like essentially he's at the point where he's like gone. He's the only guy who's been able to figure out how to go mainstream in that sense of like, you know, here's the website, here's the publisher, order it, you get it. Um, does the book feel as much of an accomplishment to you as a backer as it would if you watched uh, Ethan draw 23 pages in a year, and you know, and then eventually, like, if you wait 18 months and then you see him unload those things into his warehouse unit, like, does that feel like more of an achievement when you see him do that 18 months later, or does it only feel like laziness? Because to me, I can see that feels like it's just
I don't know.
that delayed gratification. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
probably an anomaly.
yeah,
Everybody talks about the excitement of following the campaigns and watching the
yeah.
stretch goals and all of that kind of stuff, and I don't have that. It it's nice, you know. It's great when I get that update, you know, if the campaigns update, but um
Hmm.
I don't really feel that extra sense of community because I'm following along with a campaign.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
I
just
just
a
don't
guess I
know.
have that like
Yeah,
people
I
feel
mean,
like it's like
people,
watching a movie take 3 years to get produced, you know, like this is a
yeah,
huge deal. And then you finally get the comic. Most of these people don't even read the comic, right? That's what we've known this for years. They
yeah, a
just feel
lot
like
of
I finally get the conclusion to the story. The real story was watching it get made and be a part for the ride for 2+ years. Like that's the story that you bought into. And then the comic is kind of like a little goodie at the end. That's my
yeah.
guess.
See, I back them for the book. I don't back them for that,
Yeah.
you know, that race to the finish line and the excitement of the postman finally dropping off that Gemini mailer. I
Yeah.
actually, you know, so but like I said, I hear people talk about that all the time, that they
Hmm.
experience that you know, that little rush as the campaign goes along, and I just don't. I'm sure the creators do. But as a backer, you know,
Yeah.
I want the product that I paid for. And I don't really, the rest of it's, you know,
Hmm.
it's just window dressing for me.
So
Um,
these live streams aren't part of the product for you. Like you don't think of them as additional product, you know, like it's a free product that, you know.
I I don't think of it that way.
Mm.
No. I think of it as a chance for me, it's a chance to get to know the people making the books that I'm interested in. to maybe help get other people interested in them. I think those regular shill streams where people just scroll through Indiegogo pages are boring as fuck. I'm sorry, people.
Yeah, they are.
You know, so anything that's not that is great. But I just like sitting and talking to people about their work, what drew them to it, what drives them to do it. I find that more interesting than the process of the campaign. So
That's yeah. Yeah. I think you and me are in a similar boat, and maybe that's why we're different creatures, I guess. And that's why we're talking about terms like ecosystem instead of just talking about CG or something.
yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know?
have a hard time with just CG
Yeah.
because one, God, how the fuck do you define it? Everybody defines it differently, right?
Yeah, remember when like the first year and a half you weren't allowed to define CG? Remember that? You get blasted if
Yeah,
you defined it.
yeah.
What a terrible idea.
And then suddenly it has, 20 million different everybody's got their own definition of it and their own
Yeah.
expectation, and
Now they're all mad at
it's
each other.
fine.
Yeah.
But that sort of it led to everybody getting all mad at each other. Well, that and being harassed by war campaign. That for
Yeah.
me, that's pretty much what fractured the community, so the other people, their mileage may vary, but I think that
Mhm.
had a big part to do with it. But you can't really, I mean, there are people who would be considered anti-CG who still back books. They still back Comicsgate books, and non-Comicsgate books. I don't back as many CG books as I used to, mainly because I don't, um, probably because I don't pay as much attention to all of the streams. There's so many freaking streams, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and so many people trying to shill their books, and so many people you never hear of, unless you see their name on a list that Mr. Dongs has compiled, and or something like that. So,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
and I have found that a lot of CG books for me, they have that production issue where, I don't wanna wait an extra 6 months.
Mhm.
I don't wanna see you on live streams all the time and then tell me your book's gonna be late, you know? Um,
Yeah.
I don't want excuses like, "I'm stuck at home because of COVID, and that's why I can't do my book." And you're like, "That was, like, the worst excuse I heard." That's a book I'm still waiting for.
Is that
Oh, what book
that's
is it? Hey,
is
Uh,
it?
what book?
Grom, Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, the capybara book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
From
that was
like
the artist.
early 2019 maybe.
Yeah, yeah, it was supposed
Mhm.
to come out, early last year, I think, and that was the artist's excuse, because suddenly his family was home too, and instead of saying, "Hey, I have to go get to work, I'm gonna be in that room, leave me alone," I guess, he just did the family thing the entire time instead of working. It
Mhm.
I don't know. But, um
Yeah.
I still just want the product, and I don't s and sometimes CG's really bad at getting the product out. It's all hype and, everybody hopping on everybody's live streams and, grabbing their oar, so to speak, but not drawing, not writing. And,
Yeah.
um, editors would be really nice. If we had some actual editors in Comicsgate, that would be a bit helpful too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better writers, better editors, more than one letterer would be smart.
Yeah. There's
As
one
great as
editor.
he is, I don't
Yeah,
think he can do every single book. So
Yeah, he letters like almost everybody's books, and his own campaign is late. So
probably not a coincidence.
yeah, not a coincidence at all. But
Yeah.
time management seems to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But this is gorgeous. I love this page, by the way.
Yeah, I colored it so many times, and I just couldn't figure it out. Like, his detail work is just so insane that it's like you have to come up with a color scheme that's going to be as bold as his line work is, but is a lot simpler, so that you can really cohere a lot of those shapes into like your eyes just don't get lost. So I just said, I'm going with a strong yellow to really punch you, and then everything else is going to be a lot cooler. And then hopefully his line work can do the rest. And yeah,
it's beautiful. I would say every single page that I've seen from this book is gorgeous. I didn't really. I mean, I glanced at the campaign. I didn't look at like all the perks and tiers. So I do know it's 10. Was that right? Was it? How much was the book again?
just it's 15 for
15.
both the Ashcan and the comic, and it's $5 shipping. All my books are always $5 shipping. So,
and then
that's pretty affordable.
There's a holographic cover that's 20, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm finally glancing at it now. And then you do have the other books, 1 and 2 as well. Are those, did you do add-ons with those as well? Or is it just the tier?
Yep. We can add on for no additional shipping on those.
Yeah.
So 35, just like the last campaign, gets you both books for 280 pages worth.
Yeah, I'm sort of a poor host. I have been intrigued by your book since I first saw the Kyrie one.
Thanks, Vicky.
I know. It's just that every time I'm like, yeah, I gotta back that book. I'm completely broke. So this time I'll be able to do it. So I'll be able to catch up.
Oh, thanks.
It may be, when it's in demand, but I will be able to catch up. I'm gonna make myself do it this time. Yeah. No, because gosh, the first time I saw it, and then you were one of the few people that has managed to sort of float around this whole space without angering a lot of people, or I don't think you catch a lot of flack.
Yeah, I was hoping in the chat, I thought people would troll me a lot more, but people are being kind of nice. Like, I guess the Breaking Bad thing is the most I'm gonna get, which is fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is, but I guess I've always been able to tell that we're all here to play a game. Even if we're telling the truth and we're actually standing by our convictions, like, to express that online is to have it, filtered through if you're going to try and mediate that into the internet, there's a degree of you kind of playing a game. So I never take anything too seriously, and except for criticism on the Curie books.
Speaking of criticism, no, we don't interact with the chat. It's full of dumb comic nerds. No, I'm totally joking.
Thanks,
that's actually
Scar.
what Matt C had told me backstage. That was all his words. No, I'm joking.
I felt like yesterday I had to win over Spirit Scar, and I came in hot, and I made fun of
David Lynch, of all things.
David Lynch and Miyazaki. So that's how I had to demonstrate I wasn't that insane. And he clapped back, and it was great. And I think he kind of convinced me that maybe I need to try and watch more than 3 minutes of a David Lynch movie. So.
Oh yeah, you guys were talking about that last night.
Yeah.
Weren't we gonna watch that? Why are we shilling?
I
That would be
know.
bad.
That's what I prefer to just watch Forbidden Zone by Oingo Boingo brother. But yeah, that's really it. If I could show you all one last thing, so there's a Rubicon Club, which is the tier at the top. Every time we sell out, and we keep selling out, I have to go back to the 3D printer and ask them, can you handle like 2 more? And so far they've been able to say yes. But we got a lot of perks going with that, including the I promise this is just straight shilling, and it's going to be gone in 30 seconds. But we got the koozie, we got a patch, we got a lot of other cool things. But we have a decoder ring box. Everyone's asking if you can keep your weed in it. I suggest crystal meth, but that's up to your preference.
Yeah, it's just an occupational
yeah.
reason.
Get your hazmat suit. You know I've got
now,
mine.
could you sell this like you were not that you look like him in any way because you don't, but could you sell this like you're the slap chop guy? Are you following me, camera guy? And
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this. I need like the little, you know how he's got the little
yeah,
the
exactly. He does the
douchey
little hand movement. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love what this product
You're gonna
does
like,
right here. Okay,
yeah.
camera guy, really zoom in on here.
Yeah, so it's a decoder ring, you know, it's a box, and inside the box is a scroll, and inside that scroll is a key and a code, and you use this, you know, the key unlocks it, it's a jumbled phrase, right? And then you use this to unlock using the key, and that gives you discounts to every future Kyrie campaign. So it's going to pay for itself. That's basically what you're getting, is you're getting a discount code that makes all the future books cheaper because you're crossing the Rubicon. So that's kind of what we're doing. And in the ash can, this very same thing, this item is a treasure that shows up in the ash can that Dr. Watson digs out of a Afghan tomb. So
So
you get to be a part of the story.
That Ashcan is the only story with the male protagonist, then, or main protagonist.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to write. Like, that's another thing. People are like, seems kind of SJW because it's a girl. So I'm trying to like write more male stories so I can demonstrate that. And yeah, it's Rudyard Kipling characters, and it's Dr. Watson showing up in the Anglo-Afghan War. I don't think there's any women in it, so that'll work out for cider hype. I just picked someone. I just picked someone in the chat. Someone who would be that mean. But yeah, it's fun. We're having fun. It's already, you know, it's not a big campaign, and I didn't plan for it to be a huge campaign, but it's paid for, and it's going to be fulfilled in like 3 months. So
yeah, when it's done and over with, will it be a used to be campaign, not to be confused with a was campaign, or will it be just an old campaign?
It'll be in demand until I fulfill it, and then once I fulfill it, so far I've been able to pull this off every time so far. I'm gonna have book 3 of this series. The sign up is going to be happening in the fall, and I should have enough of the pages done. I should be mostly done with drawing that by then, and then I can launch that in early 2022, I guess. And
so a more to come campaign.
Yeah, more to come campaign, and always available as an extra perk campaign. So
even better.
Yeah, you'd left book 1 like in demand for a really long time though, didn't you? Like, if I remember correctly, you were sort of using it as an online store for a while. Wasn't that?
Yeah, I've never my view is that Indiegogo is awesome for several reasons, and one of them is, in theory, so long as you're fulfilling and you're being responsible with your backers, you should just keep that open until you're ready to, swing off that one branch and then move on to the next campaign. So I just leave them. I so far I always leave open the campaigns until I closed this like 2 days before I launched Wild Tales. So there's always an option, because I can show you mattcrotts.com, but you're probably not going to go there. But you are going to go to the Indiegogo page. So might as well just have that always be an option for you.
I would go to mattcrotts.com.
I almost launched this on mattcrotts.com. I almost pulled a Doug Ernst, and I almost said, I'm going to go completely off the grid, and I'm going to crowdfund it on my own website. And then I thought about it, and I'm glad I didn't, because like 2/3 of my backing has been from people just browsing Indiegogo. Still, after everyone hemming and hawing about the fees by being dependent, not independent, but dependent on other people's platforms, I think that's still the way it's always going to go, because it just adds credibility, I guess, to go to these campaign sites that, it just looks just as legitimate as the big funders, I guess, to be on the same page as them. And yeah, so I don't think the time's right for people to be crowdfunding on independent sites. I just don't think it looks.
Well, I know, like Doug Ernst had he paid for all of that out of his own pocket with the hopes that it would, be successful through Iconic Comics. And from what I understand, he's actually ahead of where he was on Indiegogo. But I think that's that's not something that's going to work for everybody. It works for Doug because actually, I think he did a lot of sales through Iconic Comics after his Indiegogo closed last time.
Oh, really?
And still sold a lot of books after that. Plus, too, I mean, like we were saying, that whole OGCG thing really makes a huge difference for him as far as the community and the recognition. And if you can get the people who bought the first one, because the first one was really good.
It was good
to get to the second one. At least I thought so. Spoiler for the review tomorrow. Yeah, I am taking over. I have hijacked Well Read's channel and will be hosting the review of Soul Finder tomorrow night with Meek Pug and Moonshine.
Afterwards, we're gonna stream some Nazi footage, World War II footage. Pro-Nazi World War II footage.
Let's be clear. That's
Just to be clear. Yeah. So
well, that'll be great. Wait, are you sorry, did I miss that? Are you reviewing both books of Doug's?
It's gonna be both books. Yeah, I've only read the first one. But they supposedly have read the second one. I think Smug's still waiting, like hoping it comes in time. In the mail. I don't know. He may get held up on that, but we'll still be there. Yeah.
Can I just say, like, I haven't seen a review of a Comicsgate or any of these books in the ecosystem, I should say, since 2019. I feel like that just became, I guess, like once everyone wanted to make their own book and they wanted to leave the chat and start their own campaigns, everyone kind of zipped up really fast, coincidentally. So it was just so funny. Like, I actually don't even know if I've ever seen a Doug TeNapel review that's in depth of big. Like, I've never seen a Bigfoot Bill review. It was so fascinating to just hear people talk about some book I bought 4 years ago at this point, I guess. 3 years ago.
Well,
and actually talk about it. So
they tried.
Well Read tried to talk about it.
Well Read had a little bit of, that understanding that it's just a children's book was a little tough. but
He's still coping. I understand.
yeah,
That's why he's too
make it
embarrassed to
cope.
do another review stream too like too soon. That's the only reason Vicky's gonna host. He just can't live with the shame.
We could
Which
get
I
your
thought he wouldn't be able to live with the shame, like, like before he started YouTube. But yeah,
His music streams are shameful.
Oh yeah,
They
They
without a
are
doubt.
not. They are one of the greatest things on the internet. I'm serious. It's like the radio and you get to chat with people. You get to talk
What's
to
up,
people in
T.
the chat.
Alexander?
Hello.
What's up? No, it's cute. Like I liked his whole like back before anyone was watching, but we were watching.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get like Mike Miller's attention. He's like, "Hey, I got a sequel for you, and I built this playlist, and I'm going to show you some cyberpunk art." Like that was really endearing, you know. It was very earnest. So I'm glad he's doing well.
Yeah, he's just moving. He'll be back next week.
Oh, good.
So yeah, I'm not. This is not a permanent move for me. No, but I'll make sure. I'll review your books after I get them.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. He's like, oh shit. Never having actually heard a Vicky review because she doesn't really tend to do them. It's like, oh crap. What am I in for? But no, this has been fabulous. I'm not gonna open it. We usually only do like hour streams. So
no, this has been great. You guys have been very generous.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Of course.
You stayed awake this whole time, and that
was
a
hard.
big
I'm so
generosity.
tired. Actually, I gotta go to my boss's house like as soon as the stream is over and pick up money because I gotta go like run the shop.
Oh, nice.
Fuck me.
Hustling, man. Gotta do it.
Gotta.
Yeah, I guess so.
Otherwise, how else is he gonna afford all the fancy lights and the nifty camera he's not using and all that?
Yeah, I showed you mine. You're not showing me yours, DA. I thought.
What? You showed me your penis backstage, and I said I was gonna show mine once we were done. We already have an arrangement.
That's true. That's true, guys.
But the link to Matt's Indiegogo is in the description. I dropped it in the chat, but it is down in the description of this video. So everybody go check it out. Back his book. Give this man some money and get a cool looking comic in exchange.
He's trying to sell you comics instead of meth. He's trying to do better, okay?
Yeah. But if you have the meth, I'll take the meth and I'll put it in my decoder box.
In the decoder box. Yes, indeed. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. Big fan. Long time listener, first time streamer with you guys.
Yeah, if you're still up after Well Read stream, we can talk about David Lynch and Cronenberg.
I'd like that.
After the review. We'll open it up.
I'm officially Cronenberg curious.
I'm going to be following his format. We'll do the review for like the hour and a half or whatever, and then open it up. Yeah. Oh God, Cronenberg's freaking awesome. That you haven't watched any Cronenberg. It's just.
I guess that's what happens. Laid out sounds fabulous. But
I guess that's what happens when you grow up around in Canada. No. But no, thank you, chat. Like I said, go check out Matt's book.
Wait 1 second. Simple Jack says, backer number 122, give me my clout.
Oh, thanks a lot, man.
There's your clout.
I appreciate it. I was looking forward. You said you were coming by, and I appreciate you coming by and hanging out with us. We're gonna have fun fulfilling this. I'm having a lot of fun even just getting these perks put together. So it's gonna be exciting.
Are you having fun coloring it?
Yeah, I tell you, like inks. Inks are where your brain has to be, like drawing this stuff out. But coloring is just, I mean, you're just having fun, You just put on a stream and you just kind of hang out, and everyone's already done the hard work, so it's cool. It's only going to take maybe 3 months, and then I'll be done. So
Nice. Very nice. And I'm looking forward to that. Means I have about 3 months to get together my 40 something dollars, my 50 something dollars, and get all 3. Yay. I'm so excited.
well, thanks.
It was the 3rd one that did it. Yeah. They finally got me to drop my cash on Matt Crotts. It's the 3rd book.
Finally got the ducks.
Yep. But once again, thanks everybody for stopping by. Thanks again, Matt.
Yep.
Are you going to say goodbye, Dean, or are you just going to be all
Nope.
quiet?
No.
No.
Because it's never really goodbye. Because we're always in each other's hearts and gay thoughts. So
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, good night, everybody.